And I'm Sherry Bell, and this is Larry Bell, and we're at the Jewish Community Center in Scottsdale. It's moved a long way since when you knew it.
Right.
Your name is Lynn Raskin, right?
Correct, yes.
And today is September 21st, 2008.
Right.
Yes. So I understand that you moved to Phoenix in 1946.
Correct.
How old were you?
I was about 8 at that time.
It must have been a really different city at that time.
Approximately maybe 60,000 people.
What were the city limits like north?
Well, far north, they were just then paving Thomas Road, east and west. Everything north of that was kind of country. There was a dairy on North Central and a big racetrack on 7th Avenue and Osborne.
Why did your family come to Phoenix?
Basically, it was my health. I was asthmatic. I lived in Oklahoma. So they said the best way to improve it is to move where it's a drier climate. So we came to Phoenix, Arizona.
Did it help?
Evidently.
Did you have any kind of medical care when you first got here?
None. No.
How did you guys get out here?
Well, it wasn't a covered wagon. We came out by flying at the time. Yeah.
How many were in your family?
There was just myself and sister, father and mother.
And your sister younger or older?
She's younger.
When you first moved to Phoenix then, and you went to Osborne, did your parents join a synagogue?
We did join a synagogue, but the synagogue at that time was either on East Portland or Culver. It was a very old one. I don't know, I forget which street it was on, and of course I went to Hebrew school there. That's where I first started as far as learning Hebrew.
You were the first graduate of the Hebrew school?
Well, I wasn't the first graduate. There were several in the class naturally, and as far as the actual temple, I was bar mitzvahed in what is now a pawn shop on 3rd Avenue and McDowell. And I was bar mitzvahed in the basement.
So where did you go to high school then?
West Phoenix. It's now a trade school on, it's on Thomas Road and about 19th Avenue, something like that.
In what year did you graduate?
53.
So at that time, were there Jewish groups that met through your synagogue? Well,
there was the AZA and the BBG. They might still be around, I don't know. But that was the extent of our community life as far as young people are concerned.
AZA was a
young boys, and the BBG was the young girls.
Were you active in community life at that time?
I'm sorry?
Were you active in those groups?
I was basically a member. I didn't go to the extent of becoming president or anything like that.
Did you, when you were growing up, encounter any kind of anti-Semitism being Jewish in Phoenix?
No, actually I didn't. Even where we live today in Prescott, which is a small community, we don't notice any.
And you said your father was a jeweler?
Correct.
Where was his first store?
His first store was down on Adams and Central. And of course, we had friendly competitors, which was Rosenzweig's, Wesley's, Funk, and even Tom Chatsey. I moved from the Phoenix store to Prescott in 1963.
And did you start a Raskin's there?
I started the Raskins there.
And
correct.
where is the Raskin's in Prescott?
In Prescott, it's downtown, and we had 2 other stores that I had opened in the area as well. The shopping center opened, and I opened in a shopping center, and a 3rd shopping center opened, and I opened there.
All in the Prescott area?
All in the Prescott.
Were you married at the time you moved
I
there?
got married in 61, and I took my wife to Prescott in 63.
Where did you meet your wife?
In Temple Beth Israel.
Oh, really?
Yep.
At some kind of social event?
Actually, it was during the high holidays.
Do you remember?
She was sitting behind me, and we got acquainted.
You got a twinkle in your eye?
That's right.
So how did she like Prescott?
Well, she cried for the first 5 years.
Which rabbi married you, do you remember?
Rabbi Collected, thank you.
So she cried for the first 5 years because it was...
Not really.
I know, but it was so different.
There was no Jewish community up there whatsoever. And unfortunately, and fortunately, our social activities kind of centered around the Christian, but the Catholic Church. Because our neighbors in the shopping area where I was were Catholic. They invited us, and we just got acquainted that way. There weren't very many young people at that time either.
So how were you able to maintain your Jewish...
My Jewish identity? Well, when our children came about and were ready to go to Sunday school, my wife and I drove them. And we have 4 children, and we drove for the 20 years to give them a Jewish education down to Phoenix at Beth Israel.
So how many days a week did you drive them?
Once a week on Sunday for Sunday school. That's about all we could do.
Were they bar mitzvah?
Each one was bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah. Yep. And they got married at the temple.
And was that Rabbi Plotkin also?
Absolutely, yep. He married us. He named all our children. He married all our children and all our grandkids.
There's a small Jewish community now in Prescott, right? I believe
there's about roughly 250 to 300 families.
Were you active in any of that?
We got the temple started, my wife and I and several others.
Tell us a little bit about that before we finish.
Well, it was a very small community. We used to have services in various homes till we could afford the rental on a building. And that's basically the way we got started. And it was just a small community, and a lot of the Jewish people just got sucked together. And there was a lot of intermarriages that moved up and got the temple going.
And is it now successful?
Very successful, actually. Yep. We have a full-time rabbi, and getting ready for the high holidays, and it's been very nice.